Right at the back.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, Confession, but I was wondering, you said you had the first course around 2016, 17, so I wonder if the Brexit and the election of Trump was almost like inspired you in a way, and kind of the question about your next novel is, for a lot of people in the room have watched Adolescence and kind of the incel um, undertones or themes of that. Is there, and that feels like a watershed moment really for the general public, but is there something else that inspired you about the next novel that maybe you saw before everyone else did that way?
Yeah, excellent questions. Um, on the first one, I think definitely around that time of 2016, as you say, Trump's election, Brexit, it was more a sense of, um, first of all, sort of online movements, power coming offline was one big thing, and there's to a sort of sense of which sort of nobody had quite um, on either election sort of predicted it. People didn't quite sort of see the power of these guys on Reddit that were creating Pepe memes and stuff. How successfully this was sort of transitioning into the real world. Um, it was around the sort of time I think of the absolute most power of sort of architecture of like social media to sort of shape consciousness as well. The way in which people were getting locked into echo chambers on either side, and self inconsistency I think was becoming sort of harder and harder. Um, so that definitely had a big influence. It was also, again, wanting to blur perhaps easy black and white narratives that we might have, and that were being put forward in the media about why either of these elections were happening, or what people's reasons for voting for them were. Um, Definitely wanting to upend that. Um, on Adolescence, my confession, I haven't actually seen it yet, but I've obviously heard a tremendous amount about it. Um, I think one thing maybe the book will focus on more than sort of adolescence is, again, sort of looking at the sort of the sadness and the loneliness and sort of the emptiness, just the sort of desolation, I guess, of their lives, the flattening, rather than the sort of the violent eruption that sort of adolescence looks at. I think I'm sort of more interested with incels on what their sort of the texture of their sort of day to day life is like. Um, why they sort of perceive themselves to be the sludge of society, why they think there's no hope for them, and why they're so sure of that, and why sometimes it's not totally delusional. There are reasons why it's not. A lot of the time they've seen patterns emerge in their life, and it's more a case of sort of them exaggerating the patterns and exaggerating that this will go on forever. But it's not coming out of nowhere. A lot of them, have been rejected, time and time again, 300, 400 times in a row on dating apps, and you do start to see patterns emerge. And so, yeah, I think I want to explore what the sort of low level sort of experience of living with that lack of hope is like day by day.
Gentleman, second one.
Yeah, is there anything that could stop David going so far down the road he thought?
Ooh, yeah, yeah, that's a great question. Do you think did you have anything in mind when writing David's character, that the alternative option instead of him going all the way down the rabbit hole, as it were?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think it was important for me while writing it that there were many different reasons for his radicalization. Um, so from bullying to black sort of marks in society that he sees as being sort of covered over, to friends abandoning him after his artist is cancelled by society, sort of perceived overreaction to the artist's comments. There are all these sort of different reasons, and I wanted them to be intertwined so tightly that you couldn't untangle them, and you also couldn't hierarchize them. You couldn't know what the sort of real reason was. Um, and I think sort of beyond that, the focus really was to ask the questions, and that sort of Chekhovian sense that you know, what the novel should do is show the complexity of our moral fabric, and it's not sort of the place of the novelist to provide answers. We just need to ask the questions. So sort of from that perspective, I almost sort of didn't allow myself to sort of think of sort of, you know, other options or answers, or, you know, what could have sort of prevented him from taking a certain direction. It was enough to sort of ask, you know, how could he go that way, and then almost not quite know for myself there's going to be a certain level of opacity, you know, that even I would have.
So you've spent a lot of time in the sewers of the internet. I can imagine that takes quite a toll, and even more so actually on the new book, with its sense of hopelessness. How do you stay sane while you're trawling through?
Yeah, because I'm going to back you up here, because I came off social media completely last September. The best thing I've done in years as far as a digital footprint is concerned. You're actively going in unprotected, no biohazard suit at all. You're just going straight into the bottom of the internet and trying to see what it's like objectively. So there must be times when you have to go, oh, I need a break. Or do we need to book someone for you? It's part of our duty of care.
It's funny actually. Like, I actually probably now, you know, ironically, aside from all of this research in the sewers, I don't really use social media that much anymore. I've more or less gone off using, you know, Twitter and Instagram and all for other purposes. So, you know, all of the cute otters and all are sort of, they have to be sent to me now. I'm no longer finding them. In terms of, you know, what it's sort of like day by day, I guess, and the sort of impact of it, I'd be totally fine with, you know, reading any amount of text comments. So, you know, you could read the most vicious comments, and it wouldn't have any impact on me at all. I could view it purely academically, but I did draw a line at not watching any videos, for example. So, you know, in these spaces all the time, you'd be seeing videos shared to, you know, the Christchurch massacre, which was filmed with a GoPro. And, you know, people would be sharing that all the time, or, you know, their beheading videos being shown. And I know a lot of extremism researchers personally who do watch them. But I think that visual element would leave a mark on me, and I would find it very hard to turn off in the evening. So I drew a line there, and I didn't do that then, and I wouldn't do that in future either. But again, you know, also, I mean, a lot of the content is, you know, there is like a tremendous sort of inventiveness and humor in the sordor and in the, you know, the terrible stuff. I mean, you know, a lot of the time there'll be under the auspices of, you know, forwarding a far-right program, it'll be like reinventions of, you know, a Toy Story meme, or like, you know, plays on like Disney characters. And the same with like, you know, the incel lingo of, you know, Chad and Stacy and all. Like, there's a tremendous inventiveness and playfulness in there that, you know, academically, I think, you know, I'm able to enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Padamsee.